Okay, starting live stream. It's a 667 number. Anyone know anyone with a 667 number?
You mean area code?
Yeah, that's the area code.
I know a 666, but that's a different topic.
Oh,
All right, we are live.
okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. Let's see. Our agenda is not long, so it shouldn't take us it shouldn't take us that much time. We have two bills, two departmental bills to vote on. We heard that we discussed them last week. Then HB 429, Delegate Boyce's bill on farm organics and wasted food, well, and the rest of the title. We're going to look at a proposed revision to that just for feedback, not to vote on. And then HB 663, Delegate Rosenberg's reporting. Just want to sort of see if anyone, has any thoughts about that or not, but not going to vote on it. So with that, first bill is HB 218, Office of the Attorney General, reporting requirement for Environment and Natural Resources Crimes Unit. Delegate Baylor.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I remember this bill being an incredibly simple reporting date change. I'm happy to move the bill.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any questions about this bill? All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Any opposed? Okay. Bill passes. House Bill 252, lead paint abatement services, performance bond, and liability insurance for Department of the Environment. So when we discussed this last week, had a couple questions, but I think we got them. We got answers to them.
But, Mr. Chair,
Delegate Baylor, you want to move the bill?
move the bill.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, Delegate Morgan. Okay. All right, bill passes. Okay, House Bill 429. Kristen, can you discuss, or do you want to pull up and again, this is just for discussion, suggested amendments to this bill?
I'll do both. I'll pull up the reprint. Let me get it up first. So the bill, as introduced, set up one grant program under MDA and a couple under MDE that relate to providing grants for wasted food reduction and diversion activities. And so what the amendments do is that it's just going to focus on the portion of the bill that sets up the on-farm organics diversion and recycling grant program in MDA. And so, there's no substantive changes made to the language that came into the bill. This is a grant program that would award grants annually for developing and implementing on-farm organics recycling and compost use, wasted food prevention, and food rescue. The bill has eligibility requirements for those who both can apply and for what types of projects. And so what was added we had reached out to the Department of Ag on a minimum amount that they would need to implement a viable grant program. And with respect to the grant amount, they thought they could, with $250,000 annually, they would be able to provide grants under the program. And so there is an amendment to mandate funding in the annual budget bill in an amount of $250,000 to the grant program.
Okay, Delegate Holmes.
Yeah, I'm just want to make sure everyone is talking about funding and fiscal notes and all that kind of thing. I just want to check to make sure we are consistent with the speaker's process and all that kind of thing, funding?
Great question. And anything, if the subcommittee does want to move forward with this grant program, we would have to put in a budget request with appropriations for them to review, the amendments. However, the committee wants to move forward, they would have to give their approval before this goes to the full committee.
Thank you.
Okay, Doug and Morgan?
Yeah, very quick. I'm following what Doug and Holmes is saying. So is the fiscal note for this bill in the out years $3 million correct?
So the fiscal note is envisioning funding for more than one grant program. The bill now, as amended, is only going to focus on one grant program with an MDA. The fiscal note was estimating that the grant program would need to have $1 million annually. Maybe that was across the three programs. Maybe that's why it's three. I have to look back at the fiscal note. But so the assumption was that this would need $1 million annually to function as a viable grant program. That number we think can be reduced, and that's where the $250,000 number comes from. And so what would stay, so the fiscal impact would be the mandatory appropriation, this is with the amendments, of $250,000. And MDA did get back to us that there would still be an operational impact. They would need a PIN at roughly $100,000 to cover the cost of that employee to implement the program. We don't have a truly revised fiscal note, but this is the estimate, the feedback that we've received.
Okay.
So Kristen, I guess combining the money for the grant program and the PIN, I mean, I realize as you said, we don't have anything in writing, but it'd be roughly 350 in that ballpark.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And the other grant programs that were being set up in the bill as introduced have, I'll just show the language is being stricken from the bill. So all of the remaining environmental or the language that's under the environment article has been taken out by these amendments.
Yeah. So again, we're not going to, move anything on this bill tonight, but any other questions about this? Doug and Morgan, do you have another question or?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't put my hand down.
No problem.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Any other thoughts? All right. If not, then we can move on to House Bill 663. Again, just to bring this up, see if, if there's, anyone has any particular thoughts about this one way or the other. I'll tell you after. Kristen, do you want to pull it up and I'll tell you what my thoughts have been?
You want to see the copy of the bill on the screen?
Yes, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. Just give me, I just don't have it up. So give me one second.
So I know it's a short bill, but Kristen, could you just summarize what it does?
Sure. The bill's requiring the Department of the Environment to report every 6 months back to the General Assembly on any changes in federal policy on greenhouse gas emissions that have been deemed legally valid by this final decision of a federal court. And that would include any changes that rescind a finding that the greenhouse gas emissions from new motor vehicles and engines cause air pollution that may endanger public health or welfare, repeals greenhouse gas emission standards for motor vehicles and engines, or repeals greenhouse gas emission standards for stationary sources. And if there has been a change in federal policy that is required to be reported back to the General Assembly under the bill, MDE would have to report on the steps the state is taking in response to the change. Let's see. And then there's a requirement that the initial report would report back on actions that have occurred since January 1st, 2024.
Doug Baylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is Jeremy still on the line? Yeah, I see him. This doesn't impact the governor's executive order that he did on with the state agency plans and such, because this is about the federal government. Is that correct?
Thanks, Delegate. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I'll tell you, I emailed Delegate Rosenberg a couple days ago with a couple sort of technical questions. He said he got it. He'd get back to me. He hasn't yet, but I was just saying, when there's a reference to a final decision of a federal court, I didn't know if that meant, well, once it's been appealed to the Supreme Court, and there's a decision there, or not, just like if a court issues, but it's technically their own final order, the district court level maybe. And then also, I think, and this is just a technical thing, the top of page 2, he's referring to the EPA's effort to rescind the endangerment finding, which is broader than just emissions from cars. It's, greenhouse gas emissions more broadly. But anyway, I mean, those were just a couple technical things. Anyone have any thoughts on this one way or the other?
It's a reporting bill.
That's right.
Doesn't cost anything.
That's right. Okay, any other thoughts? All right, well, we see, maybe we'll, take it up for, for consideration in terms of a vote next week. But with that, we are done. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And let's see, we did that in 12 minutes. Not
Record.
bad.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Dylan, I'll be down.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.
Right.